In the scripture, Isaac was very old and about to pass. He was nearly blind. He sent word for his son Esau to come in, and he was going to give him the blessing that belonged to the firstborn son.
Joel Osteen, he is one of America's most popular preachers, but faced some fire on social media when his Lakewood church was slow to take in flood victims as the waters rose in Houston.
Pastor Joel Osteen just shocked the megachurch crowd when he dropped names of some of the biggest celebrities and leaders living below their true potential. With fire in his eyes, he called out powerful figures who, despite their fame and success, are still struggling to tap into their divine power. But it wasn't just the famous faces he was addressing. His words had everyone in the congregation on the edge of their seats.
The pastor's first public response to the storm was to ask his 6 million followers on Twitter to join him in prayer for his fellow Texans. But many on social media were not satisfied and said, "You can do better."
What exactly did he say that got everyone's attention? In this video, we will look into the powerful speech Pastor Joel Esteen got a standing ovation for. Joel Osteen's stance on potential. Before the sermon began, the church had spent weeks building anticipation through social media. They hinted at a life-changing message, and as the day approached, all hands were on deck for another powerful sermon to be delivered by Joel Osteen. Joel Osteen is an inspirational figure in modern Christianity, leading the largest church in the United States, Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas. His ability to connect with people through uplifting and faith-filled messages has earned him a global audience. With millions tuning into his sermons every week, Osteen has become a voice of hope for countless individuals. His unique approach to preaching focuses on empowerment and the belief that everyone is capable of overcoming life's challenges. Osteen's style is distinct and consistent. He avoids complex theological debates and instead focuses on straightforward, relatable messages. Phrases like, "You are not ordinary, you are extraordinary," have become symbols of his sermons he uses to connect to his listeners on a personal level. This sermon we're about to reveal is no exception. Stay tuned so you don't miss out on any detail. This particular sermon, titled, "You Are Very Powerful," was one that captured attention even before it was delivered. The lead-up to the event created a sense of anticipation that could be felt throughout the congregation. Over 16,000 people packed into Lakewood Church, a venue already known for its vibrant and energetic atmosphere. Thousands more joined online, eager to hear what many believed would be one of Osteen's most impactful sermons. The atmosphere in the room was alive with expectation, amplified by the dynamic choir and worship music that set the tone for the day. The church was buzzing with excitement, and as Osteen stepped up to deliver his message, everyone could feel something historical was about to happen. What made this sermon special was the personal nature of the message. Osteen shared that his words were inspired by his own struggles with doubt and uncertainty. It was clear that it was a reflection of his journey and a reminder of the power that faith can bring. Osteen grounded his message in Scripture, referencing Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20, to emphasize the divine power that resides in every believer.
I want to talk to you today about the God who exceeds expectations. We all have things that we're believing for, dreams to come to pass, problems to turn around. We'd be happy if they worked out our way.
He explained that the same power that raised Christ from the dead lives within each person, a thought that drew audible reactions from the crowd. The congregation seemed moved by the reminder that faith brings with it the ability to overcome even the most daunting challenges. Throughout the sermon, Osteen focused on the role of mindset in unlocking one's potential. He pointed out how easy it is to let negative thoughts take over and how this can limit what people achieve. "You cancel your own blessings when you let doubt take over," he said, urging everyone to adopt a victorious perspective. He shared examples from Scripture and everyday life to illustrate how a strong mindset can lead to extraordinary outcomes. One of the most memorable moments of the sermon was when Osteen spoke about David and Goliath. He explained that David's victory wasn't just about skill or bravery, but about his unwavering faith in God. "Giants may be big, but God is bigger," Osteen said, and the audience responded with cheers. This story served as a powerful reminder that no obstacle is insurmountable when faith is present. To make his point even more relatable, Osteen highlighted examples of well-known leaders who faced adversity but didn't let it define them. He spoke of Martin Luther King Jr., whose faith and vision for justice helped him lead a movement that changed the world. He also mentioned Nelson Mandela, who, despite spending 27 years in prison, never lost sight of his purpose. Osteen tied their stories back to the idea of divine empowerment, showing how faith and resilience can lead to transformative outcomes.
He is one of the most famous, one of the most popular Christian televangelists since the heyday of Billy Graham. I'm talking about Joel Osteen, pastor of America's largest megachurch.
To compare to this, he pointed out how even some of the most influential leaders in history struggled to tap into their full potential until they embraced the power within them. He spoke of individuals like Moses, who initially doubted his ability to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Despite being chosen by God, Moses questioned his speech and leadership skills, feeling unworthy of such an important task. Osteen didn't just rely on historical examples, he also shared personal anecdotes. He talked about the early days of his ministry when criticism and self-doubt made him question his calling. Don't miss the next scene where things get even more interesting. Criticisms against Osteen's ministry. As one of the most recognizable pastors in the world, Osteen's ministry has often come under scrutiny. Some critics have questioned the content of his sermons, claiming they focus too heavily on positivity and personal success while avoiding deeper theological topics. They argue that his messages are more motivational than spiritual, often labeling him a prosperity preacher for his emphasis on faith leading to blessings and success. Osteen, however, has always maintained that his goal is to inspire people to live with hope and purpose, rather than dwell on fear or negativity. Others have taken issue with the size and wealth of Lakewood Church, pointing to its vast resources and the luxurious lifestyle Osteen leads. His family's large home and his financial success have been frequent targets for those who believe pastors should lead more modest lives. Despite this, Osteen has consistently explained that his income comes primarily from book sales and speaking engagements, not from the church itself.
I do stop and think about that often, especially periods when I never planned on doing this. I mean, 12 years ago, I was running camera at my dad's church, doing the production, things like that. I never thought I'd get out in front of people. I never wanted to do it. I like being behind the scenes.
He has said that he views material blessings as tools to help others, and that his focus remains on spreading a message of faith. Another common critique is that his sermons often avoid controversial topics. Osteen rarely speaks on political issues, preferring to stick to messages of hope and empowerment. While some appreciate his neutrality, others feel he misses opportunities to address pressing social or moral challenges. Osteen's reasoning is clear. He believes his role is to encourage, not to divide. He has said that he wants everyone, regardless of their background, to feel welcome and uplifted by his messages. Even within the Christian community, there are differing opinions about Osteen's approach. Some theologians argue that his focus on self-improvement and success overshadows core elements of the gospel, such as sacrifice and repentance. Yet, Osteen has explained that his intention is not to replace those teachings, but to complement them by helping people see themselves as valuable and loved by God. Osteen's response to criticism is consistent with the messages he preaches. He chooses not to dwell on negativity, often saying that he doesn't let critics discourage him. Instead, he focuses on the positive impact of his ministry, which reaches millions worldwide. In interviews, he has shared that he understands not everyone will agree with his methods, but that he believes his approach is what he is called to do. By staying true to his vision, he continues to inspire countless individuals, even as debates about his style and content persist. By being transparent about his struggles, he connected with the audience on a deeply personal level. This honesty added another layer of meaning to his message, as it showed that even someone as successful as Osteen had to overcome doubts to step into his power. Another emotional part of the sermon was when the choir performed "I Am Who You Say I Am." The song's lyrics aligned perfectly with Osteen's message, and as the congregation joined in, it created a powerful moment of unity.
The only one that knows who you really are is your Creator. He calls you a masterpiece. He said, you've been fearfully and wonderfully made. He said, you will be mighty in the land, that you are more than a conqueror, strong, confident, approved, valuable.
The energy in the room was undeniable, as thousands of voices sang together, affirming their identity in God. Another key moment came when Osteen led the congregation in prayer. He prayed for those who felt powerless, asking for strength and faith to fill their hearts. All this contributed to the overwhelming impact of this sermon worldwide. The best part is yet to come. Keep watching. Positive impact of the powerful sermon. Osteen's sermon had a massive impact. It started with the congregation present at Lakewood Church, and it spread far beyond the walls of the building. Those who attended in person left feeling deeply moved and energized. A significant number of attendees later described the experience as transformative, with many sharing personal stories of how Osteen's words gave them a renewed sense of purpose. People who walked into the church feeling defeated and weighed down by life's challenges left with hope and confidence that they could overcome anything. The excitement wasn't limited to those in the room. Social media exploded with reactions as clips from the sermon began circulating almost immediately after the service. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter were flooded with posts about Osteen's powerful message. The hashtag #VeryPowerful started trending within hours, reaching audiences worldwide. Thousands of users posted snippets of the sermon alongside captions detailing how it had touched their lives. One particularly popular clip featured Osteen saying, "When you recognize the power within you, no obstacle can stop you." That short segment went viral on TikTok, where it received millions of views in just a few days. Users responded with comments about how the message helped them push past doubts they had been struggling with. On Instagram, people shared photos and videos from the sermon, with captions like, "This is what I needed to hear today, and I feel like this was meant for me." The emotional reactions online mirrored the atmosphere in the church, proving how far-reaching the sermon's impact truly was. Celebrities also joined the conversation, amplifying the message to an even larger audience. Denzel Washington praised the sermon for its uplifting tone and practical advice, while Oprah Winfrey tweeted that it was a message for anyone who needs to remember their power. Their endorsements brought even more attention to Osteen's words, encouraging people who may not typically follow his sermons to give it a listen. Other public figures, including athletes and musicians, also joined the conversation, sharing how the sermon motivated them to approach their challenges with faith and confidence. The global reach of the sermon was undeniable. Lakewood Church reported record-breaking online attendance, with viewers tuning in from over 100 countries. Comments poured in from places as far as India, South Africa, and Brazil, with many people sharing how deeply the message resonated with them. A viewer from Nigeria wrote about how Osteen's words helped them feel seen and supported during a difficult time, while another from Australia mentioned that the sermon felt like it was speaking directly to their struggles. Joel Osteen also thought back on the sermon in interviews afterward, sharing insights into what made it so personal to him. He revealed that the message was born from a moment of self-doubt he experienced while preparing for another sermon. He explained that even as someone who preaches about faith and power, he sometimes needs to remind himself of those truths. Behind the scenes, Osteen spent weeks preparing this particular message, praying and reflecting on how best to deliver it. He worked closely with his team, fine-tuning the points to ensure they connected with the audience. He also credited his family for supporting him throughout the process, mentioning that their encouragement played a big role in shaping the final sermon. This level of dedication was evident in how well the message landed with those who heard it. Osteen also shared his plans for future sermons, promising to continue addressing topics like overcoming fear and stepping into one's purpose. Now, despite all these languages spotted, here is the shocker. There wasn't much progress on the interpretation of the texts until recently, when Samuel Zinner, a member of the evaluation panel, identified something unique in the text. Here, he noticed 2 Hebrew characters, which have become highly useful in solving the mystery of the texts. The discovered characters are letters that can be read diagonally from up to down, left to right, and right to left. Using this character, the team has been able to read some portions of the texts. Also, other Jewish symbols have been found in other portions of the texts. They include 7-branched lamps, a bowl of temple offerings, 8-pointed stars, and a diagonally tilted cross. Among the symbols which have been found while analyzing the text, the 7-branched lamps have drawn in the focus of many and left most people talking. First of all, it is rare to see this symbol represented in a book because the picture is prohibited in Israel. The 7-branched lamps are considered highly sacred in Jewish worship. Because of this, they are even kept in the Holy of Holies, where only the high priest is permitted to see them. So, what does it mean for the books to have a symbol of this sacred object? While the answer is puzzling, some scholars have speculated that the presence of this object in the books could be the reason it was sealed away, since it was not allowed to be seen by the public. But amidst all of this, there was still a battle of conviction about the discovery's authenticity. But the table took a new turn when David Elkington, an academician IC and historian specializing in Egyptology and Egypto-Palestinian links, stepped in. David Elkington took many photographs of the codices and laid claims on them in a March 2011 press release. Today, he is the co-author of The Case for the Jordan Codices, and he has lectured both at Oxford and Cambridge universities, appearing on many television programs as well.
A man named David Elkington, who then published a press release in 2011 announcing the discovery of these codices.
According to Elkington, the lead books that were discovered could be a significant discovery of Christian history. And if that isn't enough, he goes further to say that, although the dates hadn't been confirmed yet, the books are likely to be among the earliest Christian writings, even before the letters of the Apostle Paul. They could even be additional Bible scrolls, if considered in that direction. He also stated that it was breathtaking to believe that we have also held objects that the earliest saints of the church might have held. At this point, the skeptics also arose, led by Jordanian authorities. These skeptics doubted the discovery, including that they were from the 1st century and were written by actual people from that time. Their doubts were strong because they had seen the same type discovery in Cairo and Libya, where the books were sold online or used as tourist souvenirs. The Jordanian authorities did not hesitate to dismiss the books as forged. From here, the belief spread with the Wikipedia entry of the books, stating that the books are believed to be forged. Today, a familiar narration about how the books were found is that a grandfather made the discovery in a cave. With doubts about its authenticity fast spreading, the books were on their way to being ultimately dismissed as forgeries when a shocking twist unfolded, challenging the state of things. Evidence older than 100 years, the codices were about to be written off as forgeries when something unusual took the front stage. Like a divine arrangement, a group of 9 scholars stepped into the situation with the noblest decision to ensure that the truth is not swept under the carpet without verification. These scholars did not want something that could hold the truth of the past dismissed unduly, so they worked independently of David Elkington to prove the authenticity of the codices. If you were wondering how they did this, the answer is simple. It has to do with carrying out a test to determine how old the metal in the books was. The calculation was that the writings were likely genuine if the metal was as old as claimed. In the team were 2 emeritus professors of biblical studies and 3 former Society for Old Testament Study presidents. Metallurgists and linguists were also on board. An evaluation panel was also set up to review the results of the test that was going to be carried out, and the head of this panel was Robert Hayward, Professor Emeritus of Hebrew at the University of Durham, chairman of the panel. Another panel member was Dr. Margaret Barker, who was tasked to look into the books by Lord Williams, the former Archbishop of Canterbury. With all protocols observed, a series of tests were finally carried out on the books. The test was aimed at checking for active radiation on metal. According to scientists, the books were ancient if no active radiation had come from the metal. The process was further explained by Professor Webb, who conducted the test. According to him, leads are said to have radioactive isotopes that decay gradually after mining. However, they can be reactivated from radioactive polonium in the air. According to Professor Webb, radioactive polonium has always been in all metals created since 1945. The reason for this is that the first atomic bomb was released in a desert in New Mexico that year.
Today marks the 70th anniversary of the first atomic bomb test in the Nevada desert. It's explosive,
filling the air with it. Hence, if the lead books are found without radioactive polonium, they were made more than 100 years ago and before 1945. So, what did the test reveal? Eventually, the results of the tests were released, stunning all who dared to see it. The tests showed that the books lacked radioactive polonium, meaning they were over 100 years old. This was further confirmed by further metallurgical analysis by the University of Surrey, which revealed that the lead book is made of highly impure leads, which is different from modern leads. According to scientists, the lead book was the type of lead that had never been seen or handled. The lead could easily fracture, unlike modern lead. When the books were studied using microscopes, they also revealed all signs of aging. This included crystalline impurities clinging to lead and microscopic holes found inside them. These processes are scientifically proven to take about 1,800 years to begin in the first place, and what these meant for scientists was that the lead books were authentic and worthy of study to gain more insights into the type of information shared by early Christians.
Ancient coded books are claimed to hold the key to the secrets of Christianity.
So, with the authenticity of the lead book being confirmed, it was time to try to understand the books more in depth. Why were the books written? The question of why lead books were created in the first place has become an exciting topic that has got many researchers talking. According to Dr. Margaret Barker, there are numerous mentions of sealed books in the Bible found in places like Isaiah, Daniel, and even the Book of Revelation. The general speculation is that these books hold wisdom and secret traditions of Jesus passed down to his disciples. It is clear from this how important these kinds of books are, so paying attention to them is essential. So far, many researchers have come up with different of the lead books. Many of the books were already found sealed up and bound by rings on all four sides, causing some scholars to speculate that they were not meant to be studied, but were made as talismans. But it gets more interesting. For others, researchers focused on the forms of the letter, which suggested that they were written after 135 CE. This researcher believed that though the writings were made during this time, their contents could have been copied from something older, leading them to speculate that the lead books were written to preserve and pass them down from generation to generation. However, analysis continued. Further analysis of the books revealed astonishing discoveries. Philip Davis, a professor emeritus of biblical studies at Sheffield University, was taken aback by an image resembling Christian symbolism. The depiction included a cross emerging from the ground, alongside what appeared to be Jesus' tomb and the city walls of Jerusalem. This led to interpreting a scene depicting a Christian crucifixion outside the city walls. Despite the significance of this finding, there was more to uncover. The spotlight then turned to Dr. Margaret Barker, former president of the Society for Old Testament Study, who conducted groundbreaking analysis on the lead books. She proposed that these books likely served as weighty testimonials documenting the words of the Messiah. According to her, the characters and images within the books were designed to foretell the coming of the Messiah, who would bring liberation from worldly burdens, including taxation, and usher in a period of global salvation. Initially mistaken for magic spells due to the unreadable characters, the metallic books posed a challenge. However, Samuel Zinner's discovery of 2 Hebrew characters within them paved the way for Margaret Barker to decipher their contents. Upon analysis, Dr. Barker made astonishing discoveries within the books. Despite some pages being corroded and indecipherable, clear pages revealed tasks for future generations. Additionally, Dr. Barker noted that one of the lead books could not have been made a century ago due to the unique casting of writing and drawings on the metallic pages. To validate the authenticity of the books, she explained that rewriting the characters would require casting them onto lead tablets, confirming the legitimacy of the copies in possession. After much anticipation, Dr. Barker finally read 2 pages of a lead book. The first page featured a menorah with sprouting leaves, creatively dubbed the Oracle page, while the second showcased a stylized bee drawing the size of a bank card, named the Bee page. Dr. Baker also examined another book, roughly the size of 2 bank cards. A uniquely shaped menorah was depicted within it, with branches extending on both sides and rows of crosses at the bottom. Initially, the layout of these diagrams seemed nonsensical until Samuel Zinner observed that the lead book's words were arranged in triangular clusters, not in straight lines. This revelation led to the discovery that some letters represented multiple letters of the Hebrew alphabet, a critical insight that aided Margaret in unraveling the mysteries within the lead books. Drawing inspiration from the writings of Ben Sira, a Jewish scholar from Jerusalem in 200 BC, who explained the concept of pairs in the works of God, Barker realized that simple words written in triangles formed mirrored pairs. Leveraging her understanding of archaic language, which allowed letters to represent more than one Hebrew alphabet, Barker decoded the patterns on the menorah page, revealing pairs with mirrored images for every word. With this newfound understanding, Barker identified 21 patterns on the Oracle page, which eventually expanded to 200. She concluded that the Oracle served as an example of the first temple, crafted by priests and prophets after the nation was exiled. The writings on the Oracle page preserved the worldview of the older priesthood while describing their present circumstances and hope for the future, drawing heavily from the Book of Isaiah.
Both the Bible and the Book of Mormon have stakes in whether Isaiah was a real person. He is referenced in multiple biblical texts and is the most quoted prophet in the Book of Mormon.
Additionally, complex geometric shapes reminiscent of modern Pythagorean geometry were discovered in one of the books. Regarding the Bee page, it is believed to contain the names of prophets residing in exile east of the River Jordan. Its purpose is to preserve ancient wisdom, with the Oracle and Bee pages depicting the prophets and their recollections of Jerusalem. The lead book suggests that metalworkers crafted the original scriptures. Consequently, metallic words are interspersed throughout the scriptures, leading to some loss in translation. The Hebrew word seraph, which refers to refining metal, symbolizing judgment in scripture. God is portrayed as a refiner in various scriptures, such as Isaiah 1:25, Zechariah 13:9, and Malachi 3:3. In the book of Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah encountered a seraphim during his temple vision, Isaiah 6:2. However, the double letters in the lead book indicate that the term seraphim could also refer to smelters. Therefore, the word could mean seraphim smelters, as spelled on the Oracle page. This seraphim purportedly touched Isaiah's tongue with hot coal, symbolically solidifying reasoning. In the scriptures, Aaron, too, was depicted as a metalworker, as evidenced by his creation of the golden calf and various tabernacle furnishings, including the mercy seat, menorah, altar of incense, table of showbread, ark, and temple utensils. Aside from past prophets and priests being temple workers, the lead book also suggests the presence of metal workers in future temples. Furthermore, the analysis of the lead tablet pages revealed archaic double letters on the left and their later Hebrew equivalents on the right. 7 examples of this phenomenon can be identified on a single page of the lead tablet. Specifically, 2 archaic double letters are inscribed on the left, while their later Hebrew equivalents are written on the right across 7 rows. Additionally, it's noteworthy that the top letter on the page can either be Aleph or join in the latest script. When deciphering words on lead tablets, one letter may represent either Alephs and Yoni or Aleph Ton Ish Shin, where Ish means man. Furthermore, words can be interpreted differently, such as Aleph Urin Olive Race. Moreover, observations from the lead books indicate that words can be written in both leftward and rightward directions. One character, Dalet or Gimel, appears 3 times in the books. One character faces right, while the other 2 face left, written sideways. On the menorah page, the central lamp symbolizing God intercepts patterns representing God and the Messiah. The giant menorah on the oracle page is believed to describe the temple's worldview. The central area and character above the square and menorah represent heaven, while the character below symbolizes earth. Dr. Barker observed that the illustration contains lines indicating their position within the temple. She explains that the character on the menorah's left side, known as the shoot or branch, grows up from the earth area into the Holy of Holies. Conversely, when viewed in reverse, it symbolizes divine favor coming down. The right side of the menorah displays a mirror word, meaning shoot or branch. When going up, it reads, "My witness." When coming down, it reads, "The one who knows." This implies that the branch, representing the Messiah, is God's witness. This concept is corroborated in Isaiah, stating, "I have made him a witness to the people." While so much has been revealed, the lead books are still being analyzed. However, scholars are working fast in fear that the current Israeli keeper of the books might sell some parts to the black market or destroy them. Hence, they hope to unravel the mystery behind the lead books before this happens. For now, we do not know what the future holds, but until all is revealed, we can only trust God, who will ensure that His will be done on earth. It is God's will that the truth be revealed. According to Scriptures, it is written that we shall know the truth, and the truth will make us free. Therefore, being certain that God is a God of truth, we are also assured that in due, all that was once hidden will eventually come to light. We've reached the end of today's video. Thanks for watching until the end. What do you think about these lead books? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and remember to like, share, and subscribe for more.